Famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright designed more than 1,000 structures in his lifetime. Only about half were built, and all these decades later, those that were sometimes face an uncertain future. Lee Cowan introduces us to a couple saving Wright's legacy, one house at a time.
This was
the front door.
This empty clearing, about 20 miles west of Duluth, Minnesota, used to be Peter and Julian McKinney's living room.
But this was the edge of the house then, right?
They lost it, not to a fire, or a storm, or foreclosure, but to progress.
The first few days were a little tough, watching your home be taken apart.
What was it like for you?
I went back once. There was a bulldozer in the kitchen.
They had tried to sell it for a decade. No takers. The pine trees did their best to hide the strip mall and the Walmart that had sprouted up across the street. But they couldn't hide the reality. The peace and quiet of the land had gone.
I think Frank Lloyd Wright always said when you found the perfect land, go 10 miles further. And in this case, it was probably pretty accurate.
Yep, she said Frank Lloyd Wright, the architect everybody knows. He designed that house for Peter's grandparents, Emma and Ray Lindholm, back in the mid-1950s. It had all of Wright's signatures, the low profile, the big windows, the cantilevered roof. It even had a name, Mantilla, which is Finnish for of the pines. But now it was gone.
I had a lot of really good memories there, and anyway.
We've been creating a lot of memories in our homes lately. They become our offices, our schools, our safe havens. What a luxury it would be to return to the world in something like the McKinney's Frank Lloyd Wright house. Well, there's one place you can do just that, thanks to this couple.
How did your interest in Frank Lloyd Wright start?
For myself, it's childhood memory.
Back in 2003, Tom Papenchak and his wife Heather stumbled on these 130 acres about an hour outside Pittsburgh. On that land, surrounded by woods, were two remote houses built by one of Wright's apprentices, Peter Bernstein. They had names too, the Balter House and the Blum House, slices of mid-century architecture that Tom, a licensed contractor, thought deserved a second chance. So he bought the land and both houses.
So when he came to you with the idea of buying 130 acres with two houses on it that you weren't going to live in, what was your...
I don't think it was an idea. I think I told her after the fact.
Yes. We're going to take this leap of faith and make it happen.
Tom worked tirelessly to restore both of them, and eventually...
So we're going to walk in through this door here.
Started offering tours.
So as you walk into this room, it goes from a cottage to almost like a treehouse.
It went so well, it gave Tom another idea.
You have can lights going through this entire...
If people would come all the way out here just to look at a home inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright, maybe they'd want to spend the night in one too.
Our first overnight guests were from Tel Aviv.
Wow.
And we're from a very small coal mining town. So to meet people from so far away was really amazing.
Now, it's no frills. There's no spa, no workout room, no valet parking. It's just a step back in time. In a place Heather and Tom called Polymath Park. Polymath meaning a person of encyclopedic learning. Busloads of guests and tourists started to arrive, and Heather and Tom soon earned a reputation as preservationists with the space and the know-how to foster wayward homes.
They were the Balter and Bloom families. They were Pittsburgh industry.
And soon, another one came up for adoption. It was this one in Lisle, Illinois, called the Duncan House. And it was actually designed by Frank Lloyd Wright himself. To save it from the wrecking ball, it had been disassembled and put into shipping containers for storage. It was a giant jigsaw puzzle that Tom wasn't entirely sure he could put back together.
How did you even start?
It was three of us, me, God, and Frank Lloyd Wright. So, that's kind of how it began, is a leap of faith for sure. I've always had this inner stirring to make a difference, and I think that was kind of the beginning of that, realizing that, okay, this is my path.
Guests couldn't wait to stay overnight. It was booked solid from the get-go.
Tomorrow checkout is by 11 a.m.
They were so busy they needed more room. But Frank Lloyd Wright homes aren't exactly easy to find or easy to move. But remember the McKinney's house?
That tree was like practically in the bedroom.
The ones with that lovely Frank Lloyd Wright home that didn't fit into its surroundings anymore? Bingo.
And we sat down on the couch, and Peter McKinney says, well, what do you think? I said, I can do it. He says, really?
Lower your side down, Tom.
No, that House of the Pines wasn't torn down. It was lovingly deconstructed by Tom Papenchak and his hand-picked craftsmen. Every nut, bolt, window, door, even the roof tiles were cataloged, wrapped, and shipped to Polymath. It would be 3 long years before Peter and Julian McKinney would see their old house again. But this was that day. There it was, standing proudly nearly 1,000 miles from where it was originally built.
This is the spot, honey.
This is our spot.
You approve?
Very much so. Oh my goodness. Hard to describe. It's almost like we've never left. It just feels like home immediately.
Hi, house, I'm back in Pennsylvania.
The last time I left the house before the deconstruction, I just stood in the hall and I put my hand in and I said, goodbye, house, I'm going to see you in Pennsylvania. And so that was something I really wanted to do when we got to Pennsylvania.
You kept your promise.
I did, yeah, and that was one of those moments where you're like, can't believe we did this.
The fact that strangers will soon be spending the night in their old home doesn't bother them at all. In fact, that's what they hoped for, especially after reactions like this.
Oh my God, coming to stay in a Frank Lloyd Wright house? That's like a dream come true.
And a dream of a Pennsylvania couple who found a way to share their love of architecture with those who might never get a chance to experience a Frank Lloyd Wright home as a resident and not just a passing tourist.
Most gratifying to me is reading the guest book. Read their quick paragraph of how it moved them or inspired them in some way.
Because they get that privilege to live in one for 24 hours.
Exactly. And they get to see the sun setting and the sun rising, see the light in all the ways that Wright intended.
These few quiet acres at Polymath Park may be just what the doctor ordered, a place where the past, it seems, will always have a home.